Okay, guys. I know it's really fucking late. I got back at like 4 p.m. and I had stuff to do around the house, and I was out house sitting for 3 days. So last time I did a video there, I got a couple complaints. Um, there was some dogs barking, neighbors howling, people talking. So I decided not to do the review that night and last night, and decided to do it today. So I just watched Impact again, and I took my notes. And before I wake the dog up next to me, I'm at a different house. Let's get this done, right? All right, Matt Cardona kicks the night off with a well-spoken promo on how he came to Impact Wrestling for opportunity, and he wants an Impact Wrestling World Title shot. Out comes Moose. He lists all his accomplishments and accolades about his podcast, his YouTube, his beautiful wife, how he's been all around the world, and everyone knows who exactly he is. Has a room in his big house covered in action figures. But then he tells him not to overshoot that. He basically tells him that he's not the guy. He asks Matt if he really wants this match with him because it's going to last as long as his Intercontinental Championship run. Yikes. That was pretty harsh. Which was regrettably short. He then asks Matt if that makes him angry because they see what I see in you. You're nothing but a mid-carder. In fact, you should change your name to Mid-Cardona. Matt grabs the mic and he tells Moose, "All right, big man, you got a big mouth." He dares Moose to say it again. Moose obliges by saying mid-card, and then Matt took down Moose and started beating on him. Morrissey enters the ring and pulls Matt off Moose. Then Matt takes the fight to him, and then Moose took down Matt, and Morrissey and Moose start beating down Matt. Out comes Eddie Edwards. He tosses out Morrissey, and then Matt and Eddie work together to toss out Moose, but he escapes on his own, leaving Matt and Eddie in the ring. We go back to Scott, and he congratulates Matt on cleaning house, and he says, "We need a main event. How about you and Eddie versus Morrissey and Moose?" Matt says he likes that, but a tag match is great, but he wants more than that. He wants an opportunity at the world title. Scott D'Amore tells him that we'll see how... I forgot what he said. He basically said, like, you want this opportunity, so go out and make the best of it, and if you win, you'll get the opportunity. Then Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering come to Scott about the Ultimate X match. They want in. He says it's going to have 6 knockouts, but before he can finish, Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans wants in the conversation. They start talking trash to Rachel Ellering. Savannah says she beat Rachel, and then Scott says that her and Rachel will face each other tonight. The first match of the night, Matthew Raywalt with Deanna. That was actually the first match of the night. I mean, if you want to count BTI, I guess not the first match of the night. But after all this, that was all talking and promos and building shit. I mean, I liked it, but this is the first match. The first match of the night, Matthew Raywalt with Deonna Purrazzo versus Chris Sabin. Deonna joins Matt Striker and D'Lo Brown on commentary. This was a very interesting match. Both competitors were trying to outdo each other. There was a moment in the match where Sabin had Matthew down on the mat. Sabin was on the top turnbuckle. Deonna gets up out of the booth and tries to get involved, but Sabin stopped her on the apron, and he basically did like, "You want to go at this? You want to go?" Deonna gets out of the booth and tries to get involved, but Sabin stopped her. He almost looked like Sabin was going to get physical, but he turned his focus back on Matthew, and he got a knee to the face. They go back at it, but then the camera pans to the ramp, and we see Mickie James running down the ramp, down to the ring to take the fight to Deanna. While that was going on, the match was still happening, and Sabin got a quick victory. This was a very confusing match to review, but I still enjoyed it. The reason why I say it was confusing is because the match was only happening to build between Mickie James and Deanna. But they needed Matthew's involvement to influence Deanna. I don't know. I don't know. This was just an interesting booked arrangement, but we got some more animosity out of Mickie James and Deanna Purrazzo, which I think is leading to a last knockout standing match at Hard to Kill. I think that's gonna happen. We go back to Scott D'Amore. He was very busy tonight. Scott D'Amore tells Chelsea Green that there will be 6 knockouts competing in the Ultimate X match. Chelsea looks excited and then bummed when he said he'll announce them next week. Chelsea paints a picture of her versus Mickie James and how all the fans want it, and she tells him to call him for an update. Then Alicia bursts on the scene, and she wants in the match too, and he tells her the same exact thing that he told Chelsea. Alicia demands that she better be in it and then walks away. Then Jay calls Scott, but before he could say anything, Scott stops him and says, "I'm pretty easygoing, but I'm not going to explain it again. But you are not going to be in the Ultimate X match at Hard to Kill." Jay looked confused. Now that was priceless. Jay's like, "Wait, what?" Jay Vidal says he's hard to kill and he wants a match. Scott tells him he was impressed that he was still standing after his match with Eric Young, so maybe he is hard to kill. He loves it when talent want opportunities, but he tells Jay that I only have one opportunity tonight, and I don't think you want it. Jay says he'll take it, and he wants to prove himself. So Scott D'Amore told him, well, the opportunity is, we got this guy coming in, and we want to put him in a match with you. And Jay's like, okay, I'll take it. Okay then, Jay, you'll face Jonah tonight. And his face just went like scared out of his mind. So, up next is Jay Vidal versus Jonah. This was just a murder. I don't know what they plan on for this kid, Jay Vidal, and I don't know why FSW is sending this talent over to get squashed in matches, but god damn, dude. I mean, he was on Impact 2 nights in a row. They were technically just squash matches, but usually a squash match is one and done. He was in 2 consecutive squash matches. That's got to say something, right? So, anyways, I don't know why Jay keeps getting in these situations, but it was fun to watch. Yeah, it was great. Jonah then grabs a mic and says the whole wrestling world is talking about the top dog, and says there's a reason why he was at San Jose in New Japan, and that's to get a face-to-face with Moose, who is your world champion, something I deserve to be. And then he says, but now on to Josh Alexander. All he keeps hearing about is how he's the best wrestler in the world. And he says to be the best, you have to go through the top dog. We cut back to an interview with Trey Miguel. He says he's pretty bummed that basically, Trey Miguel says his biggest challenge to date is not being able to pin or submit Steve Macklin. And before he can finish his next sentence, Steve Macklin burst onto the scene, and Gia Miller screamed while they brawled backstage. It was fucking nuts. Steve Macklin took down Trey Miguel, tossed him into a locker twice, threw a heavy studio case at his head, but missed. Security came in. This one security guard tried telling Trey, like, no, not this, it's not the time, it's not the place, it's not the time, it's not the place. So he throws off Trey Miguel. Then he tries holding back Steve Macklin, and then he gets flattened. I don't know why wrestling security is even a thing when they're just punching bags. I mean, it makes for good television, but I wouldn't want their job. Anyways, So Steve Macklin flattens one of the security guards, and while that's going on, a whole bunch of security guards are trying to hold back Macklin. Meanwhile, Trey Miguel is on top of a stack of chairs that are planted with tables. You know, like the let me see how I can explain this. You know how in some stadiums they have like a roll of chair, bleacherish, and it has like stacks of tables on top of tables on top of tables, but it's just a stack. Well, basically, he's on the top of the stack, and he just dives onto the security guards and Steve Macklin, and it was done. Trey Miguel walked away. So next, it was another installment of How to Be a Professional Wrestler with Brian Myers. It was distance learning. I do not know how to explain this, so I'm going to try as best as I can. Ziggy Dice calls Brian Myers. Brian Myers asked how the hell he got his phone number. He said he stole it from Matt Cardona when he was in the ring tonight. He hangs up. Ziggy believes it was a bad connection, so VSK tries calling him and says, "Hey, it's me, VSK. Please don't hang up." But I don't know if you saw Turning Point. Brian Myers said, "Of course I saw Turning Point. I have Impact Plus." Nice little plug there. Well, VSK pleads his case on how they lost and how they can prove themselves. So he told Brian Myers that he talked to Scott D'Amore and asked for a tag match, and they'll be facing Finjuice. And VSK ensures Brian Myers that they will put them in their place. Brian Myers said, "We'll see." Then we cut to Moose and Morrissey in the back. Moose says we have to get rid of Matt Cardona. We have to make sure he doesn't get anywhere near this. And Morrissey says, We have to stop Matt Cardona? I don't see why that concerns me. He tells Moose that you and I had a formal mutual beneficial alliance. And stopping Matt Cardona tonight doesn't see how it benefits me. Moose then said, "Think about it, Morrissey. Use your brain. If Cardona gets this," which he points to the title, "that means you don't get a shot." Morrissey tells Moose, "You keep telling me I get a shot, but I have yet to get a shot, so I don't think you have any intention of giving me a shot." Man, I'm going to give you a shot if you keep saying shot. So I think we're done here. Moose then tells him, "Help me beat Matt Cardona and you'll get the first crack at this." Morrissey says, "Okay," and walks away. Up next is Savannah Evans versus Rachel Ellering. This was a really fun match. Rachel and Savannah put on an awesome show, but at the end of the day, it was Rachel that got the victory. We cut back to the back where Caleb with a K is trying to walk in slow motion to no avail. He's been trying to do that for a week. Tennille is back. She greets Madison Rain. Tennille says she took a lot of classy photos on her trip, but then asked Madison how were things here. Madison says, "Well, we were stuck at Wrestle House for a week. Then some new girls came in and won the Knockouts tag titles. Madison and Caleb are trying to think of their names, and then Caleb says, "Well, I know they're Australian." Tennille responds, "What? That's my thing. I'm Australian. I'm gonna go find them." Tennille goes off in a hurry and says, "I'm going to give them a piece of my mind." Well, then, we see her go off, and stop after seeing the inspiration doing each other's makeups. It was very schoolgirlish, mean girlish, movie stylish. I don't know. It was them doing their makeups and putting lip gloss on one and putting lip gloss on the other while their face like this. It reminded me of some movie I've seen, but I can't place it. Doing each other's makeup simultaneously. The influence come up looking like they were on an episode of Step Up. Like they were walking up like they were about to fuck someone up, and I thought that was great. The inspiration scoff at their attempt. Like, huh, okay. Scoff at their attempt. The inspiration walk up to the influence, and Tennille bursts out, "Oh my god, it's you guys!" So I tweeted this out on Thursday, and I said, "Is this how all Aussie girls meet other women they know, by high-pitched screaming?" because it was a very movie-esque moment. I could have sworn I've seen in another movie I can't think of right now. But it was very interesting because all of them are screaming and jumping around. It's you, it's you, it's you. And then Caleb joins in on the fun, like, yeah. Madison looks confused, like, do you know them? And he's like, oh, no, I don't know them. I was going with the vibe. Which, to be honest, I probably would too, even though I'd probably get slapped in the face. Then he joins and saying, oblige. Madison says, hold on. He says, oh, no, I was just feeling their vibe. And they all walk off together to go do a photo shoot or something. Up next is VBD versus Rich Swann and Willie Mack. Another fun, hard-hitting match. VBD looked great. Rich Swann and Willie Mack looked great, and they got the victory. But immediately after the match, VBD attacks both of them. Eric Young is about to take out Rich Swann, but out comes Heath and Rhino. They come in with the save, and they take out VBD. Up next, the main event, Morrissey and Moose versus Matt Cardona and Eddie Edwards. An amazing match. Definitely fit the bill to be the main event. All four of these guys put on a hell of a show. But at the end of the day, it was Matt Cardona who got a roll up on Moose and scored the victory. Morrissey is standing in the ring looking up on the ramp where Eddie and Matt are celebrating. Moose is still recovering on the canvas. As soon as Moose gets up, Morrissey out of nowhere kicks his head off. Apparently the alliance is over. Now, that's how the Impact show ended. You had to go on Twitter to see the aftermath. They also posted it on YouTube today. Impact posted it separately on their channel and Twitter account. Scott D'Amore comes out and tells Moose, he tells, man, it is just not your night tonight, is it? In this very building at Bound for Glory, you ran through the crowd and ruined Josh Alexander's night. And you became Impact World Champion. Congratulations. But things have taken a turn for the worse now, hasn't it? Earlier in the night, Matt Cardona came to me and he said he wants a shot at the World Championship. And I told him, if you want a shot at the World Championship, you got to earn it in the ring. Well, we all just saw Matt Cardona do that tonight, but then that got me thinking that at Turning Point, Morrissey beat Matt Cardona earlier, which I thought was impressive. And earlier tonight, you had to open your mouth and you promised Morrissey a shot at the World Champions. Well, you've made a mess for yourself, haven't you? Well, I'm going to give you a chance to clean up that mess, because in the main event of Hard to Kill, it would be Morrissey, Matt Cardona, and you, Moose, for a triple threat match for the Impact World Championship. Good luck, Moose. Yeah, it was an awesome show. Crazy, fun, thrilling. I mean, okay, we know since it's the first taping, we always know it's not going to be the most impactful episode. But for what it was and how stories are playing out, it's heating up. So I don't know how the rest of this month is going to play out. There is a week of Impact left, and I don't know if it was set on BTI or it's going to be on Impact, but I think the Best of Impact 2021 will be broadcasted on the Impact program, but I would be surprised if they did it on BTI so they can do a full show of Impact. I don't know. That's how I would book BTI for the December days. Use it for the best of episodes. But anyways, I watched it regardless, and I'm going to enjoy it because the best of episodes usually have pay-per-view matches in their entirety. They have the roster talking about their holiday plans. They have the roster telling them what they want for Christmas. And if they're naughty or nice. So it's fun, good fun to just watch around the family. They're not worried too much about ratings or anything like that because it's the holidays. No one gives a shit. But I'm going to enjoy it because I'm the only one in this house that actually watches wrestling. I don't know. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I do have a surprise. I am dropping a surprise video on Sunday. Gotta stay tuned to that. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and good night.